In the Gaza Strip, where ceilings collapse and the weight of war bears down, the work of the Palestine Red Crescent Society was not merely an emergency response, it was life emerging from the womb of death and suffering. In the midst of one of the fiercest wars the world has witnessed in the 21st century, there were those who chose to continue giving, wearing their humanitarian emblem, refusing to flee, keeping hope alive. When hospitals went out of service, these hands refused to surrender, rescuing life through innovations that overcame every limitation. The intensive care unit, ICU, capsule and mobile operating room were born, ingeniously designed locally and operated by teams including members of the deaf community, offering immediate care to critical patients and performing urgent field surgeries. This was not just a solution, it was a breakthrough in rapid response and life-saving. With communication lines severed, every ambulance became a mobile EMS centre, operating on a purely humanitarian principle. I see, I hear, and I respond, breaking through the silence. To preserve the sanctity of the body even after farewell, the first body management vehicle was designed and launched in early 2025, ensuring transportation in a way that preserves human dignity. Despite targeted attacks and severe shortages of fuel and medical supplies, more than 100 EMS teams of the PRCS continued their mission, saving thousands of lives. Amid power outages, shortages of medicine and fuel, and lack of resources, PRCS hospitals and medical centres became a lifeline for thousands of wounded and sick people. The efforts did not stop at rescue, they extended to restoring hope. PRCS teams rebuilt and rehabilitated Al-Quds Hospital after massive destruction, making it a key support for hospitals in the northern Gaza Strip. They also opened the ophthalmology department at Al-Amal Hospital, the only surgical eye unit in the Gaza Strip. Rehabilitation services continued through mobile teams, breaking barriers of disability and reaching people wherever they were. Among the tents, relief teams built camps for marginalized displaced groups such as people with disabilities and cancer patients, moving among families while braving danger to distribute food and water amid this unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Yet, behind every act of giving, a heavy price was paid. This monumental work depended on the courage of volunteers and staff who walked into the unknown, bearing the Red Crescent emblem meant to protect them. The PRCS lost some of its finest heroes of humanitarian work, who were killed while carrying out their sacred duty. They did not hesitate to walk through fire to save lives, becoming the lifeline for others. Amid the rubble, our teams and volunteers restored hope once again. They are not just numbers, they are the spirit of humanity that refused to break. They are the light that illuminated the path. In the Gaza Strip, our strength is embodied in our teams and volunteers who carry hearts full of giving, believe in human dignity, and are filled with unwavering determination and hope. In the West Bank and occupied Jerusalem, the threads of life and suffering are closely intertwined. This part of the homeland faces escalating and repeated attacks by the occupation forces and their settlers, recurring incursions, and suffocating closures that make daily life a struggle against the impossible. Amidst this hardship, the humanitarian efforts of the Palestine Red Crescent Society's teams and volunteers stand out. They continue to provide emergency medical services, EMS, to the wounded and sick, and support families by distributing food and relief parcels that help alleviate the hardships of displacement and loss of homes, particularly in the refugee camps of Tulkarm and Jenin governorates, as well as in rural and Bedouin communities in the Jordan Valley. The PRCS also continues to deliver medical and emergency services through its mobile clinics, field teams, and advanced medical posts, which have faced repeated attacks from the Israeli occupation forces. Moreover, our specialized teams deliver secondary healthcare services through hospitals operating in several areas, including occupied Jerusalem, Al-Baira, and Hebron. In addition, psychosocial support teams move from one area to another, engaging with residents to ease their suffering and assist them in coping with the trauma of loss and pain.